Greetings, and a warm welcome back to the USA English Podcast. We're truly delighted to have you with us today. I'm Erica.
And I'm Marco. Right here on this channel, our mission is to guide you toward natural English through genuine, real-life conversations.
Our aim is to ensure English becomes practical, straightforward, and beneficial for your day-to-day interactions. We want you to comprehend real spoken English and express yourself with greater assurance in authentic settings.
And today's session is especially valuable for professional environments, business contexts, academic settings, and collaborative group projects.
That's right. Today, our subject is 100 essential phrases and effective communication strategies for chairing a meeting in English. This topic is incredibly relevant because countless English learners are required to participate in meetings, address groups, pose questions, steer discussions, and conclude sessions politely and clearly.
A lot of individuals feel anxious when they have to run a meeting. They have the ideas in their heads, but they simply lack the appropriate wording to express them.
Precisely. So throughout this lesson, we will demonstrate exactly what to say, from the very start of a meeting all the way to the finish. We'll explore opening remarks, agenda-setting language, discussion management, decision-making terminology, and effective closing statements.
And we'll present all of this through a natural conversation, so you can truly hear how these expressions sound in practice. If you enjoy learning alongside us, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also, remember to hit the notification bell so you never miss out on a future lesson.
All right, let's dive right in. So, Marco, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, although I'm feeling quite drained today.
Really? What's causing the exhaustion?
Because I've got 2 meetings scheduled this morning, another one this afternoon, and one more that honestly could have been handled with a simple email.
That is such a typical modern-day dilemma.
It certainly is. I spend so much time in back-to-back meetings that I feel like I ought to bring along some snacks and a cushion.
Please don't ever bring a cushion into a boardroom.
Fine. I'll just stick to snacks then. How about you? How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good today. I feel quite focused because I've had a calm and quiet morning. I went over my notes, drafted a clear plan, and organized my tasks before officially starting work.
That sounds incredibly well structured.
Thank you. What did you get up to over the weekend?
On Saturday, I met an old colleague for coffee. We chatted about work, team dynamics, and some rather humorous meeting anecdotes.
Oh, I'm certain there are plenty of funny meeting stories out there.
Way too many. One time, a manager spoke for a full 10 minutes without realizing his microphone was completely turned off.
That is absolutely excruciating.
Very painful indeed. What about your weekend?
I had a more relaxed weekend. I stayed in on Sunday, did some light reading, and prepared for the upcoming week. I also helped a friend practice for a job interview, so we spent a lot of time going over professional English.
That ties in perfectly with our topic today.
It certainly does. Speaking of professional English, our goal today is to equip everyone with the language needed to lead a meeting confidently, which is fantastic because many people comprehend meetings but struggle to steer one effectively.
Exactly. So let's transition into our main discussion. Okay, Erica, let's tackle the fundamental question first. Why do so many learners find leading a meeting in English challenging?
I believe it's tough because you have to juggle 2 things simultaneously. You need a solid grasp of English, but you also need to master the meeting structure. You must guide participants, manage the clock, pose relevant questions, and maintain a courteous tone.
That's absolutely correct. Running a meeting isn't just about talking, it's about orchestrating the flow of the conversation. So today, let's proceed step by step, starting from the opening and moving to the conclusion.
Sounds good. Let's begin with the meeting opening. What are the initial phrases people should know?
Start with simple salutations. You can say, "Good morning, everyone." You can also use "Welcome, everyone." Following that, you should express gratitude with phrases like "Thanks for joining today," or "Thanks for being here."
Those sound straightforward yet highly professional.
Absolutely.
Then you transition into the actual start. You can announce, "Let's get started." If you're waiting for latecomers, you might say, "We'll begin in a minute," or "Let's wait one more moment."
That's helpful. Occasionally, a few participants are delayed, and you need a composed way to handle it.
Exactly. You can also check attendance by asking, "Is everyone here?" For virtual meetings, it's crucial to ask, "Can everyone hear me and can everyone see the screen?"
Oh, I hear those questions all the time.
Me too. They are extremely frequent. After that, you need to explain the purpose. You can state, "The purpose of today's meeting is," or "The main goal today is."
That's important because attendees need to understand why they've been called together.
Yes. Then you present the agenda. You can say, "We have 3 items to cover," or "Here's today's agenda. First, let's examine this. Then we'll proceed to that. After that, we'll address this. Finally, we'll discuss the last point."
That already sounds much clearer than simply launching into random talking points.
Precisely. Structure puts everyone at ease. What if you want to sound approachable rather than overly formal?
Then you can conclude the agenda with, "Does that sound okay?" This invites collaboration in a gentle, inclusive manner.
Nice. So, following the introduction, we proceed to the first agenda item, right?
You can say, "Let's begin with the first point." Then, if you want to invite someone else to contribute, use phrases like, "Can you give us an update? Could you walk us through this?" Or, "Would you like to start?"
Hold on, what exactly does "walk us through this" mean?
Excellent question. It means to explain a process or information sequentially in a clear, step-by-step manner.
Ah, okay. So if a colleague has a report, I could ask, "Could you walk us through the numbers?"
Exactly. It sounds very organic and natural in a meeting context. What if I want to solicit ideas from the entire group?
Then you should invite participation. You can ask, "What do you think? What's your perspective? Do you have any recommendations? Can I get your input? Would anyone like to contribute?" Or "Feel free to jump in."
Feel free to jump in sounds welcoming and inclusive.
It does. It signals that everyone is welcome to speak. And when someone starts talking, you can encourage them with a simple, "Please go ahead."
Very useful. And after they've finished speaking, how do you acknowledge them politely?
You can respond with, "That's a good point," or "That's interesting. I agree with that," or "I see what you mean."
Those are safe, practical, and universally applicable.
Very safe and very practical. However, meetings aren't always about consensus. Sometimes you need to express disagreement.
Yes, and that's the nerve-wracking part for many learners.
True, but you can disagree diplomatically. You could say, "I'm not entirely sure I agree with that," or "I have a slightly different viewpoint."
That sounds far better than a blunt, "No, you're wrong."
Much better. Infinitely better. What happens if the discussion veers off in the wrong direction?
Then the leader needs to employ control phrases. You might say, "Can we circle back to that? Let's remain focused. Let's stick to the agenda. Let's avoid going off track. We'll address that later." Or simply, "Let's proceed to the next point."
Off track is a great phrase. What does it mean specifically?
Off track means deviating from the central subject or goal. So if people start chatting about lunch plans during a budget review, they are going off track.
Exactly. Completely off track. I think leaders also need polite interruption phrases.
Absolutely. You can say, "Sorry to interrupt," or "Can I stop you there?" If one individual is dominating the conversation, you can gently say, "Let's hear from someone else." And if you're running low on time, you can state, "We don't have much time left," or "Let's keep this brief."
Those are extremely useful, especially "let's hear from someone else." It feels courteous and balanced.
It does. It creates space for quieter members to participate. What about confusion? Meetings are often filled with ambiguous statements.
Then you rely on clarification phrases. You might ask, "Could you explain that again? Can you put that in simpler terms? What do you mean by that?" Or, "Could you clarify that?"
Clarify is a vital word. What does it mean exactly?
It means to make something clearer and simpler to comprehend. So if I don't grasp someone's comment, I can ask, "Could you clarify that?"
Exactly. You can also clarify your own interpretation by saying, just to be clear, if I understand correctly, so you're suggesting that, or let me double check if I got that right.
Those are outstanding. They give you breathing room and prevent misunderstandings.
Yes. And if you need more specifics, you can ask, can you provide an example? That one is simple yet very powerful.
Very powerful. Additionally, in many meetings, teams discuss factual data, finances, or metrics. In those cases, you can say, let's examine the numbers, or the core issue is, the primary challenge is, one potential solution is, and another alternative is.
I like another alternative is. It sounds composed and pragmatic.
Exactly. After that, you guide the comparison. You might ask, what are the advantages and disadvantages, and which option is the most feasible?
That sounds incredibly useful for decision-making sessions.
Yes. Once the discussion becomes more focused, you transition to decision-making. You can ask, what should our next steps be? Do we all agree? Are we on the same page? Can we reach a conclusion today? And let's decide before we finish.
Wait, what does on the same page imply?
It implies that everyone shares the same understanding and consensus regarding the direction.
So, if the entire team comprehends the plan consistently, we're on the same page.
Exactly. What if the leader wants to propose a specific direction?
Then they can say, I think we should. Or we could also consider, if the group needs a formal choice, you can announce, let's take a vote. And if the group reaches an accord, you can declare, let's proceed with that option, or we'll move ahead with this plan.
Nice. That sounds resolute without being aggressive.
Yes, effective meeting English is clear, composed, and respectful. Once we've decided, we still need to establish action items, correct?
Absolutely. A meeting without defined actions is just a lengthy chat. So you transition to delegation phrases. Let's assign the tasks. Who will take charge of this? Can you oversee that? I'll take responsibility for that.
Those are essential. I think many meetings fail because nobody explicitly states who is responsible for what.
Very true. Then you set time expectations. You can state, let's establish a deadline. When can you complete this? Let's revisit this next week. I'll circulate a summary after the meeting. I'll distribute the minutes. Please keep me updated. And let's touch base on Friday.
That is such a vital collection of phrases. They transform abstract discussion into concrete action.
Exactly. What does follow-up mean in this context?
It means to revisit the subject later to review progress or continue the conversation. So if I say, let's follow up next week, I mean we'll talk again next week to see what has happened.
Correct. And check-in is analogous.
Similar, yes. Check-in means to briefly contact someone to ask about progress or current status.
That's very practical. Short, polite, and clear. Now we arrive at the final stage, concluding the meeting.
I love this part. It symbolizes liberation.
Erica, I'm joking, mostly. Before you officially adjourn, you can ask, before we finish? Or, is there any other business? Or, do you have any final questions?
Those feel like the last checkpoints before the meeting concludes.
Yes. Then you review the meeting. You can say, let's do a quick recap. To sum up, we've agreed on 3 main points. The next step is...
That's one of the most crucial moments, isn't it?
Absolutely. A strong summary ensures everyone remembers the critical takeaways.
And then we end warmly.
Yes. You can say, thanks for your input. Thanks for sharing your perspectives. That was very constructive. I appreciate everyone's time. Let's wrap up. We're almost out of time. We'll speak again soon. And see you at the next meeting.
Wrap up is excellent. What does it mean precisely?
It means to finish something and bring it to a conclusion. So, let's wrap up is a courteous way to end the session.
Exactly. This is already proving incredibly helpful, but I think learners also need to know how to sound natural, not robotic.
Good point. Chairing a meeting isn't just reciting phrases mechanically. You have to connect them fluidly. For example, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining today. Let's get started. The purpose of today's meeting is to discuss the new project timeline. We have 3 things to cover. First, let's look at the schedule. Then we'll move on to the budget. Finally, we'll discuss next steps. Does that sound okay?
That flows very smoothly. Then, during the discussion, you might interject with, "Can you give us an update? That's a good point. Can you clarify that? Let's stay focused. What are the pros and cons? Do we all agree? Let's move forward with this plan."
And then at the end, let's assign the tasks. Can you handle that? Let's set a deadline. I'll send a summary after the meeting. Before we finish, does anyone have any final questions? To summarize, we've agreed on 3 things. Thanks for your input. Let's wrap up.
Exactly. That is what an authentic meeting sounds like. I have a personal question. When you lead meetings, what do you prioritize most?
I prioritize clarity and time management. I want everyone to grasp the objective, stay on subject, and leave with definitive action steps.
That sounds very much like you, Marco.
Thank you. What about you? What's your primary focus?
Honestly, I concentrate on the energy in the room. I don't want the atmosphere to feel heavy or sluggish. I strive to keep people engaged, ask straightforward questions, and ensure one individual doesn't dominate the floor for too long.
That is also incredibly important. A skilled leader manages both the framework and the interpersonal energy.
I learned that lesson the hard way. A long time ago, I led a meeting and talked way too much. At the end, everyone was polite, but nobody had a clue what to do next.
That's a common pitfall. Many people assume leading means doing all the talking, but effective leaders often speak less and guide more.
That's such a valuable insight.
Thank you. Another mistake is being overly passive. If the meeting drifts, you need firm phrases like, "Let's come back to that," and "Let's stick to the agenda."
Yes, otherwise a minor side topic can consume the entire session.
Exactly. Another vital element is tone. Even simple phrases can come across as aggressive or rude if your delivery is too sharp.
So, "Can I stop you there?" should sound calm, not angry.
Yes, calm, respectful, and professional. So what about virtual meetings? Are the phrases different?
Many are the same, but a few extras are particularly handy. For example, "Can everyone hear me?" "Can everyone see the screen?" "You're on mute." "Could you share your screen?" And "Let me know if the connection is poor."
"You're on mute" is now practically universal business English.
It really is. I also think repetition is beneficial in meetings. Leaders should reiterate key points clearly.
Absolutely. Phrases like "just to be clear" and "to summarize" are valuable because they reinforce the important idea without sounding monotonous.
That makes sense. It aids memory, and it's especially helpful for non-native speakers.
Exactly. Effective meeting English isn't complex English, it's clear English.
I love that. Good meeting English is clear English.
Yes, short sentences work beautifully. Let's start. What do you think? Can you explain that? Let's decide. Who will handle this? I'll send the notes.
That's encouraging for learners because they don't need a massive business vocabulary.
They really don't. Simple English can run a meeting very competently. Before we finish this segment, could we present a brief model mini-meeting?
Excellent idea. I'll take the lead and you can respond.
Perfect.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. Let's kick things off. The purpose of today's meeting is to discuss the new marketing plan. We have 3 items to cover. First, let's review the timeline. Marco, can you give us an update?
Sure. We completed the first draft on Tuesday, but we're still awaiting feedback from the design department.
Thanks. That's helpful. Can you walk us through the subsequent step?
Yes, we'll review the draft on Wednesday, and then we'll submit the final version on Friday.
Great. Does anyone have any questions? All right, let's move on to the budget. The key issue is that costs are slightly elevated this month. What are your thoughts?
I think we should trim the advertising budget a little.
That's a valid point. I see what you're saying. Does anyone have an alternative perspective?
We could also maintain the budget but shorten the campaign duration.
Interesting. What are the pros and cons of that approach? All right, I believe we're on the same page now. Let's proceed with the second option. We'll advance with that plan. Marco, can you manage the revised timeline?
Yes, I can take care of that.
Perfect. Let's set a deadline for Thursday. I'll circulate a summary after the meeting. Before we close, are there any final questions?
No, none for me.
Great. To summarize, we've agreed on the new timeline, the updated budget, and the subsequent actions. Thanks for your input, everyone. Let's wrap up.
That sounds incredibly authentic and practical.
Good. That's precisely what we're aiming for.
You know, Erica, while we were conversing, we incorporated numerous useful words and expressions.
Yes, and many of them aren't just for meetings. They're applicable to general work life as well.
First word, agenda. This refers to the list of topics to be covered in a meeting.
Ah, yes, a crucial meeting term.
Exactly. For instance, here's today's agenda. Or we have 4 items on the agenda. You could also say, please send me the agenda ahead of the meeting.
Very good. A well-defined agenda helps people feel prepared. What do you appreciate most in a good agenda?
Concise points, logical order, and no unexpected surprises. Next phrase, give us an update. This means to provide the most recent information about a particular subject.
Very useful when inviting someone to speak.
Exactly. For example, can you give us an update on the project? Or she gives us an update every Monday. You could also say, before we decide, let's get an update from the sales team.
Perfect. It's a common and friendly business phrase. When do you usually request updates?
When a project is progressing slowly and nobody seems to know why. Next phrase, walk us through. This means to explain something in a step-by-step fashion.
I really like this one.
Me too. For example, can you walk us through the process? Or he walks us through the report very clearly. You could also say, please walk me through the new system.
Exactly. It's helpful when something involves multiple stages. What do you often need people to walk you through?
New software tools. I'm always needing assistance with new tools. Next phrase, off track. This means straying from the main subject or objective.
That happens quite frequently in real meetings.
It certainly does. For instance, we're getting off track, or let's not go off track. You could also say, the discussion starts well, but then it goes off track.
Very nice. The opposite would be staying focused or remaining on topic. What usually takes meetings off track?
Long anecdotes and irrelevant side conversations. Next word, clarify. This means to make something easier to understand.
A very useful professional term.
Yes. For example, could you clarify that point? Or, I want to clarify one thing before we continue. You could also say, let me clarify what I mean.
Exactly. Clarify helps prevent confusion. When do you often need clarification?
When people speak too quickly or use overly vague language. Next phrase, on the same page. This means everyone shares the same understanding and agreement.
Very common in meetings.
Yes. For example, I want to make sure we're on the same page. Or, before we move on, are we all on the same page? You could also say, the team isn't on the same page yet.
Perfect. It's idiomatic, but very useful in business English. Why is it important to be on the same page?
Because confusion creates mistakes later on. Next word, deadline. This refers to the final date or time by which something must be completed.
Ah, yes. One of the most emotionally charged business terms.
Very true. For example, let's set a deadline for Friday. Or, the deadline is next week. You could also say, we missed the deadline because we started too late.
Exactly. A deadline establishes structure and pressure. How do you feel about deadlines?
I respect them. I don't always enjoy them, but I respect them. Next phrase, follow up. This means to revisit the topic later to check progress or continue the discussion.
Another meeting essential.
Yes. For example, let's follow up next week. Or, I follow up by email after the meeting. You could also say, thanks for following up on this issue.
Perfect. Follow-up can be used as a verb or a noun. Do you prefer email follow-ups or brief meetings?
Usually a short, clear email. Next phrase, wrap up. This means to finish something.
Very useful at the end of meetings.
Exactly. For example, let's wrap up, or we wrap up the meeting at 5. You could also say, I want to wrap up this point before lunch.
Very nice. It sounds polite and clear. When do you prefer to wrap up a meeting?
Before people lose energy and stop paying attention. Last phrase, summarize. This means to present the main points in a concise, clear manner.
Another key leadership skill.
Yes.
For example, let me summarize the discussion, or she summarizes the next steps at the end. You could also say, a good leader summarizes clearly and briefly.
Exactly. Summarizing helps people retain what matters. What makes a good summary?
Short bullet points, clear actions, and zero extra confusion. Let's quickly revisit all the vocabulary. Agenda, the list of meeting topics. Give us an update. Tell us the latest information. Walk us through. Explain step by step. Off track, away from the main topic. Clarify, make something clearer. On the same page, sharing the same understanding. Deadline, the final time to finish something. Follow up, check progress later. Wrap up, finish something. Summarize, give the main points briefly.
That is a very useful set of meeting vocabulary.
Okay, Erica, that was a lot of discussion about chairing a meeting.
Yes, it was. I feel like I just sat through 3 meetings, but in a productive way.
A very useful way, hopefully. Let's reflect on what we covered. First, we learned how to initiate a meeting. We use phrases like, "Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining today. Let's get started." And the purpose of today's meeting is...
Then we talked about setting the agenda. We used phrases like, we have 3 things to discuss. First, let's look at this. After that, we'll talk about that. And finally, we'll discuss this.
After that, we moved into discussion and participation. We used phrases like, "Can you give us an update? Could you walk us through this? What do you think? Would anyone like to add something? And please go ahead."
Then we covered control and clarification. We used phrases like, let's stay focused. Let's not get off track. Could you clarify that? Just to be clear? And can you give an example?
After that, we worked on decisions and action steps. We used phrases like, "Do we all agree? Are we on the same page? Let's move forward with this plan. Who will take care of this? And let's set a deadline."
Finally, we practiced strong closing phrases like, before we finish, to summarize. The next step is, thanks for your input, and let's wrap up.
So, the overarching lesson is this. Leading a meeting in English isn't about using complex terminology. It's about employing clear phrases, maintaining a calm structure, and projecting confident guidance.
Exactly. If you master the phrases for each stage, you can conduct a meeting much more naturally. Beginning, middle, end. Open clearly, guide politely, close strongly.
That's a perfect summary. Now, we'd love to hear from you. This is our favorite part.
Yes, we always enjoy reading your thoughts. Our question of the day is, which meeting phrase from today's lesson do you find most useful for you, and why?
I'll go first. The phrase I find most useful is, let's stay focused, because I believe effective meetings require direction and clarity.
For me, the most useful phrase is, can you clarify that? Because I ask that constantly, especially when people speak too rapidly.
See, we have different preferences, and that's perfectly fine. So viewers, we want to know about you. Which phrase do you think you can apply in your real life? Perhaps you like, let's get started. What do you think? Are we on the same page? Or let's wrap up.
You can write, the phrase I find most useful is blank because blank. Or I want to use blank in meetings because blank. Or even in my work or classes, I often need to say blank.
Please share your answer in the comments. Write a short response and practice your English with us. It helps us create better content and also helps you practice writing in English.
So please, share your response. We genuinely love to read it. We truly appreciate your time and support. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. That way, you won't forget to join us for our next lesson.
You are all fantastic students, and we are incredibly happy to learn alongside you. Keep up your practice. Remember, strong meeting English isn't about sounding fancy. It's about being clear, calm, and easy to comprehend.
Exactly. One useful phrase at a time. All right. Have a wonderful day, evening, or night. Take care of yourselves and keep practicing.
Goodbye, everyone. See you in the next lesson.